Imagine trying to fight somebody for their treasure when you could simply waddle your way to victory. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 14, where it's all about being sneaky. From new tools to new weapons, we were given a bunch of toys to cause mischief on the seas. And I mean, they don't call me the legendary rogue for nothing, but in today's episode, let's just say we pissed off the wrong pirates.
This is a 3-ship alliance.
Oh god, what? But before we get into that, let's find out what this season has to offer, because whilst many of these new items can be found in your armory, some you will have to find. Why are all these empty? Where am I gonna get my merfruit from if I don't get anything? It's all just fireworks and worms. Give me the new stuff, I'm begging. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. This, my friends, is a merfruit. If we're trying to be sneaky today, this is going to be our best friend, because once it is cooked up, consuming this item will cause you to not spawn a mermaid when away from your boat. And with no mermaid giving away your position, you can do a lot of funny things. Things which I was determined to attempt for myself, because on the horizon, I found a sloop taking on a skull fort. So I parked my vessel, jumped into the water, and downed that merfruit as I was getting close. But what was waiting for me was no sloop at all, but a brigantine that just claimed this fort for itself. Their mast must have gone down during the battle, so I waited until I heard them put planks on it to sneak by them and get below deck. And thanks to what I can only imagine to be Xbox FOV, I had made it. Now this is the part where patience really pays off. You could do a lot of things while tucking on somebody, like replying to your emails, watching a YouTube video, or coming up with a segue to our sponsor for today, Gamersupps. Because gamers, what if I told you that you can try Gamersupps completely for free? That's right, for the next 48 hours from when this video goes live, that is Wednesday the 11th of December 2024 at 8 PM Central European Time, you can get free worldwide shipping using code CLIFF at checkout. And if you are unsure about whether or not you'll like the product, you can get the Gamersupps sample pack with a bunch of different flavors sent to you worldwide, no credit card required, completely for free. Usually you'd have to pay shipping for it, but today is a special day. So whether you are stocking up on your favorite flavors, getting your hands on a brand new waifu cup, or you want to try Gamersupps for the first time, today is the day to do it. After the 48 hours are over, you can obviously still save 10% on your entire order by using code CLIFF and support my channel directly. Every time you buy something using my code, that's money in my pocket to keep the lights on so I can continue making videos. Thank you guys for your support, a wonderful holiday season to you all, and oh yeah, back to talking. Since I was getting a bit uneasy at the front of the ship, I decided to waddle my way over to the back, where I was getting a much better look at the crew of this vessel, and everything was going peachy until they got attacked. I mean, listen, the essence of being a rogue means being an opportunist, so when they were filling up with water, I decided to ambush any and everyone I came across to then jump off with the most valuable item on their boat. Just that their most valuable item ended up being a treasure map. I made an attempt to get away on a neighboring island and then rowboat back to my ship with it, but I was not as stealthy as I like to believe and got caught red-handed. Not a great start for sure, but hey, plenty of fish in the sea. The one thing that would definitely help me is a partner in crime. It's been a while since I set sail, so having somebody with me would greatly increase my chances of success. So why not continue our exploration of Season 14 together with my friend Mifu? The goal? Hide, sneak, and cheese our way into getting a chest of fortune. Oh, sorry, did I say one chest of fortune? What I meant to say was as many calves as possible. To achieve that, my vote went towards finding as many traps as possible, but Mifu insisted we should go for the pop-up plunder instead. Oh yeah, did I mention that today's tale takes place on Community Weekend? The stakes were never higher.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, you got it.
Glad to see that Rare had not lost their sense of humor. For this community weekend, the devs had bestowed some randomized loot upon us, and was giving us a stool for the very first one was very funny. The actual treasure was nothing to sneeze at. But until the next pop-up plunder was available, we'd have some time to collect a few traps, though as it turned out, those were not found where I would typically expect them. You see, a lot of the time when they add new throwable items to the game, you can find them in barrels, so usually you'd go for where barrel density is very high. But from sea forts to sunken vessels to skull forts, I just couldn't find a single one. We even sank a burning blade just to see if they spawned with any of them. Okay, granted, we sank them for their bone collars. It's gonna make sense why later. For now, we decided to sell our treasure because if we're going to do something sneaky, it doesn't make sense to have a bunch of shinies on our boat. What about the Skull of Griefing?
No, we keep that. Ah, okay, maybe we sell it.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to have something on your vessel that other pirates can use to kill you. Either way, our search for traps continued until we eventually realized that actually the best place for traps are outposts. Yep, it was that simple. New Golden Sands in particular ended up being an absolute haven for these things, especially if you have access to the pirate legend hideout. But now that we had a barrel full of traps, it was time to do some science. So if I... What? Huh?
What's that?
They just disappeared for no reason.
Sometimes they do that.
What do you mean sometimes they do that? That's not supposed to happen.
It's not.
Damn it, rare. Looks like these things were not as reliable as I had hoped. I mean, hell, can you imagine delaying the content to a new season for a whole month just for it to still be broken? What is this, Ark? Anyway, here's a few things I learned about traps. For starters, if you try to place more than 2 of them down, the first one you place is going to disappear, limiting the area you can cover in traps. Furthermore, you can bury the traps, which makes them a little harder to see, and lastly, you can arm your traps with other items. And that is the best part about them, from blunderbombs to cursed cannonballs all the way to bone callers. Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun with that, because now that we have all the tools we need, it was time to find an active Fort of the Damned. Now, finding an active FOTD on Community Weekend was not all that difficult of a task. With a multiplier increasing the value of all treasure, pirates across the sea were keen to stack those forts. I mean, a chest of fortune alone could sell for as much as 80,000 gold depending on your emissary, and our target was found. We're just going to ignore the burning blade right next to it. Mifu and I rode our way behind the fort into its dead angle, expecting to have to hide back there for quite some time, but that was until we heard...
That's strange.
That's extremely strange. This explosion was way too loud for it to have been just a couple of kegs. That sounded more like an entire stack. But why would they blow it up intentionally when they're not even on the boss wave? We had to find out what kinds of pirates we were dealing with, so Mifu and I snuck onto their vessel to get a better view. We also booby-trapped the boat because honestly, it was bound to be funny. What wasn't funny was that the burning blade had found our ship and we could hear it absolutely tearing it to shreds. Man, I wonder how they found us. And speaking of being found... yeah, so it turns out that hiding in plain sight is not always the best way to go about things. Thankfully, the traps I'd prepared beforehand worked wondrous, because not only did the poison kill the pirate, I now also had a team of skeletons patrolling their vessel. It was quite rudimentary from here, fellow pirates. Mifu brought a keg from the vault, which we used to blow up the boat, and the loot was ours. But naturally, that was not enough. What kinds of pirates would we be if we just accepted another crew sinking our vessel? So using the remaining kegs from the FOTD, Mifu decided that we should spare the burning blade a bit of a visit.
They're moving.
That's really bad for us.
Towards us.
Uh-oh. Myth, do we have a plan B, Myth? They definitely see us.
Jump off.
And brace for impact.
Got you. Uh-oh.
Sorry, cliff.
Oh, God! Yeah, so that could have definitely gone better. Needless to say that we were not happy with that outcome, so when we found another active FOTD, we decided to play it smart. This time, we made sure to hide our supply crates so that even if our boat gets attacked while we were gone, we'd still have some resources to fight back. Sadly, this crew appointed a guard who was keeping their eyes peeled for any sneaky shenanigans. We knew that getting on that boat unnoticed was gonna be nigh on impossible, so we waited until the fort was completed to then go in, guns blazing.
This is the 3-ship alliance.
Oh god, what? We were about to make a powerful enemy. Obviously, these guys heard us coming, so our only option was open combat. Dealing with a 2v2, especially when having bone callers, was very manageable, though Lord knows what's gonna happen once their alliance comes in. Though to be fair, considering how overpowered the blowpipe was at the time of recording, maybe we'd actually be fine.
The pirate got joned.
Dude, these blow darts are ridiculous. Hello, sir? Dude, this is not a stealth weapon, this is a murder weapon. Dude, look at this, I just blew him up my sword. Yeah, I can definitely see these things getting nerfed. Anyway, their ship was sunk and the chest of fortune was secured. Obviously, we were far from safe at this stage. No doubt they would come back, and chances were they'd do so with assistance. After hiding the treasure, I went back to our boat to come collect it, completely forgetting to pick up our supply crates. But time was of the essence. By the time I came within striking distance of the fort, their sloop was already back and Mifu was fighting it all on his own. When I arrived to sink them a second time, they had a lot of very unhappy thoughts to share with us, not that we had any time to indulge them because the cavalry was about to arrive.
Are you dropping their barrels? Their barrels are stacked.
Okay, but so are we.
Really? Where's our crate?
Safely hidden at a certain island. Don't worry about it. This really was no laughing matter. I decided to hide the chest below deck and booby trap it for security's sake, because before we knew it, we were surrounded by 3 vessels, and understandably, they were very unhappy about being robbed. Having to fight 2 sloops was dicey enough, but when their brigantine rolled up to join, things began to get very stressful. And little did we know that these guys, yeah, they hired a hitman.
I've hit 1 cannonball on this vessel.
What the hell just happened to this boat? Uh-oh.
I got knocked off the boat.
Okay, that's extremely annoying, actually. Stupid Meg, come on, man. Meg, please, not now. This is not fair. Meg, please, I'm begging, bro. This was all sorts of annoying. Between the Meg shoving opposing vessels out of my cannon range and it constantly biting into us, I was having a very hard time keeping our ship afloat. We were burning through our supplies, meaning our only option was a tactical retreat. I say starting this fight, we go get our resources.
Nah, we're saying this.
Bro, no, we're not gonna lose this shit just for the ego. Come on, man.
We're not losing. We're actually well on top. This other boat has 2 people on their boat. That's it. Never mind. Let's go.
I'm glad you finally see a reason. That one bull really came at the perfect time. With a chest of fortune on our vessel, we had all the bargaining chips under our control. So if they wanted a piece of this pie, they'd have no choice but to follow along as we retrieved our supply crates, which obviously our enemies were not happy with.
I think you understand that I don't understand speak Elven. That's not Elven, that's like Portuguese.
He's saying learn how to play, apparently.
We sank him twice already. What are you talking about, learning to play?
Yeah, we literally sank him twice. Their mind truly was an enigma. Naturally, when pincered by an alliance, only a fool would decide to stick around, and thankfully, I didn't even need to argue about it, because even though Mifu hates not engaging in fights, there is one thing he hates even more, and that's missing out on fat loot. We were minutes away from another pop-up plunder disappearing, so we decided to hightail it on over to the destination, which ended up being Mermaid's Hideaway. And guess what? It was another chest of fortune. You'd really think that now these guys would be even more keen on getting us, but actually, the truth is a lot more disappointing.
These guys have sunk right in front of us.
Wait, what?
Literally just sank.
How? What?
I sank it with my mind. I need to stop doing that.
I guess their alliance could not handle losing that fort, but either way, if you can't handle waiting for another video, then what about you check out my last video in which I went full stealth mode. This one's all about the throwing knife, and you can find the card on screen right now. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more, and most importantly, I hope you guys have a day filled with the riches on the sea. And until next time, peace.